And we're live. Welcome everyone to my 2024 Emilia Romagna, should I say, Grand Prix pre-race Chinwag. My name's Tommo. Hello, hello, hello. Frederick, yeah, the poll isn't working because obviously I have to end the poll to then do the graphics. So I'm actually going to delete that from the top of the live chat. Hello everyone, how are we all doing? And Minton is joining us for the start of this stream. Sometimes he's about, sometimes he's not. And he decided to you were just kind of hanging about, weren't you, beforehand? I felt like you wanted to be on camera. You wanted to see all your wonderful faces. Thank you for coming, CHXGH. Why was that so difficult to say? Liam, Risa, Foon, Kleiner, Frederick, Jerome, Eduardo, Road Rage, Henry, Charmander, Leon, Tim, Ben, Socks, Jerome, Ruben, Tina, Francine, Bewildered, Dan, Zahid, Unlikeness, Goga, Insa, Theo, Dimmy, Luke, Sergio, Geordie, Salmon, Seamus, Holden, Sleepy Salamander. Welcome everyone. How are you doing? Are we good? Are we good? Are we well? Are we good? Yeah. Good. Excellent. Good to hear. Good to hear. And don't forget, audio only, right? This goes out on all good audio only platforms after the fact as well. If you're not going to catch this live, or if you're catching this after the fact on YouTube, right? Drop a like on the vid, right? Would much appreciate it. Early Tomo, no way. I know, James. I know. Minton's got me on my best behaviour, ain't you, mate? Hey, yeah. Look at him. He loves the scratches. He does love those scratches. Right, cool. Should we talk about Imola, round 7, Emilia Romagna Grand Prix? Obviously, we didn't race there last year because of the flooding in the area. You can't justify holding an F1 race where people are literally losing their lives. Really badly affected the region. So we're back for the first time since 2022 in Imola. And, I mean, the main talking point really going into this race is upgrades, isn't it? In fact, Bosch, upgrades galore. We've got Aston Martin with upgrades. We've got Ferrari with upgrades. We've got Mercedes with upgrades. Probably missing some teams, but they're the big one. Oh, Red Bull as well, obviously. Helmut Marko said there's going to be some upgrades coming to the RB20, whatever it's called. Didn't Adrian Newey, I'm sure he was like at the start of the year, he was like by race 7, the car looked very different. So maybe the Red Bull's going to be looking a little bit different this weekend as well. So if Red Bull weren't bringing upgrades, you'd think, okay, we'll look at McLaren's pace last weekend. Ferrari thinking they can gain about 3/10. Let's just steady the ship, all right? Because Miami was very hot, and that did seem to affect the Red Bulls. Red Bulls poorly. Oscar full upgrade too as well. Jag, good shout as well. Oscar Piastri full upgrade on his McLaren. He only had parts of it last time out in Miami, and Oscar was running very well, and he got very unlucky. As much as Lando got lucky with the timing of the pit stop, it kind of shot Oscar in the foot a bit, didn't it? Bless him. So, yeah, full upgrade for Oscar. Both Ferraris, well, I'm assuming both Ferraris, both Mercedes, both Astons will be carrying their upgrades as well. Who knows? So it'll be very interesting FP1 to look at, to see, and Red Bulls. Obviously, I keep forgetting that the Red Bulls are bringing upgrades. But yeah, Oscar made his own Tina. Oscar cooked them up himself. He's a clever lad. But yes, of course, we haven't raced here for 2 years. So last time out in 2022, we had a max win. Checo P2, Lando P3. It was a sprint weekend last time out. And messy qualifying, a lot of red flags in qualifying. You had Albon's brakes explode in Q1. You had Carlos hit the wall. You had Lando go off. You had Magnussen go off in quali. It was a bit crazy. Sprint was decent overtakes. Max put a corker on Charles Leclerc into turn 1 around the outside. Obviously, it was damping the sprint. It was wet in the race as well. This is, of course, the race where Charles Leclerc, he was trying to recover, wasn't he? He put the softs on. No, he didn't put the softs. He came out the pits ahead of Checo. Checo got past him. Then Charles was trying to reel Checo in and then took that chicane. I don't do corner names. I never can remember them. Took it too fast, hit sausage curb, bottomed out, into the wall. He finished the race in 6th in the end. overtook Yuki Tsunoda on the last lap, or penultimate lap. Got a P6, but yeah, was a tough one for Ferrari. Sainz going out as well, didn't he? Retired lap one, yeah, contact with Ricciardo. Last time Leclerc was leading the championship. Mad. That's actually mad, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Literally, this is when Charles was looking in a good place for the championship, and then it was this mistake combined with a few other mistakes in 22 and the Red Bull getting just better, that resulted in him finishing far behind Max Verstappen by the end of the year. But by this stage in 2022, there was like, oh, interesting. A few's maybe generous, Bottas got his P5. I know, yeah. This is the start of 22. Remember, so Alfa Romeo and specifically Valtteri Bottas was cooking, and then by the end of the year they just fell off an absolute cliff. But yeah, it was a pretty interesting, exciting race last year. Obviously, the weather contributed in many ways to that. It makes there's a lot more. It's a lot easier to slip up in it in the rain. So hopefully we'll get something similarly interesting. And again, a lot of upgrades, a lot of unknowns. Performance-wise, are Aston Martin going to find something to clear the bottom of the field? And Mercedes going to find something in their upgrade as well? You think like, McLaren and Ferrari have seemed to establish themselves as they are the front runners to challenge Red Bull. Big upgrade for Mercedes and Aston Martin could maybe expand that into 4 teams. That's the best way of looking at it. That's the most optimistic way of looking at it. But we just don't know, Aston Martin mid-season upgrades, when they bought them in last year, when Aston bought mid-season upgrades, it just didn't seem to help anything. I'm talking about last year or the year before that. Whenever. You know what I mean. K-Mag got a good finish. Yes, he did. Not trusting Mercedes upgrades. Yeah, look, I've not got the same faith in the Mercedes and the Aston upgrades that I do in Ferrari and McLaren ones. That's just a general... thing I kind of acknowledge and feel right now. But I'm up for being proven wrong. Absolutely. Upgrades-wise, this has replaced Spain as being the first Europe upgrade wave. I guess Lucas, obviously, being in Europe, logistics to get upgrades and replacement parts and all that to the cars is significantly easier. Something, it's easy to forget, right? It's easy to forget that, when you're having shunts in Australia, like Williams did with Alex, and then obviously they put him in Logan's car, or China or Japan or any of these events that are really far away from these teams' bases in typically the UK, if not Europe. It does make bringing not just upgrades but also replacement parts a lot more tricky. My head's quite shiny today, isn't it? There you go. You're right up there, buddy. Minton's holding on for... He's balanced well by now. Thank you, Adrian, by the way, for the super chat as well. I think moving to Ferrari will really start to sink in this weekend for Lewis. Yes, this will be his first race in Italy since it was announced that he's going to be... Obviously, there's 2 Italian Grand Prix. Since it's announced that he's going to be at Ferrari next year. So I think he's going to be very well received, is Lewis. He'll be feeling the love this weekend. Yeah, I don't know. The prospect of Leclerc Hamilton in a Ferrari that seems to be catching up to the Red Bull, and we'll see this weekend if this upgrade does add 3 tenths in lap, or take away 3 tenths in lap time, should I say? Woo, that's an exciting one. That is an exciting one, yeah. Lewis needs to brush up on his grazie ragazzis, Right, anyway, so that's what happened last time. Where are we today? Well, after 6 of 24 races, Max Verstappen, of course, leads the championship. 136 points. Checo, P2, 103. Leclerc, P3, 98. Just 5 points behind Checo. P4, Lando, 83. And Sainz, 83 as well. But Lando's obviously got a better best finishing position. They've both won a race, but Lando's, I don't know what it is, more P2s or whatever. Piastri 41, Russell 37, Alonso 33, Hamilton 27, Tsunoda 14, Stroll 9, Behrman 6, Hulkenberg 6, Ricciardo 5, Ocon 1, Magnussen 1 points. Which also means the team standings, Williams and Sauber are the only teams to not score a point yet. Alpine got the 1 last weekend. Well done, Esteban Ocon. Last race out in Miami, got a point. Haas 7, Racing Bulls 19, Aston Martin 42, Mercedes 64, McLaren 124, Ferrari 187, Red Bull 239. And Carlos missed a race. Yeah, obviously, Ollie replaced him back to the driver's standards. So yeah, Sainz on 83, and he missed a race. That's a good point. So obviously Behrman got 6. You would think Sainz would have finished at least 1, 2 positions better than how Ollie finished, at the very least. So yeah, Ferrari been in a good position, and with those extra points that Carlos probably would have got if he hadn't have had appendicitis, that gap to Red Bull, which is 52 points, I think, maths, would be a little bit less. There's a long way to go. This is only rounds. It's actually mad that this is only round 7 of 24. So the next race we'll have, after the next race, whichever that is, I can't even remember, we'll have done 1/3 of the season. Only 1/3. It's a long one. But then he would have not won the Australian Grand Prix, so it cancels out. Well, touche. Monaco. Is it Monaco next? Nice. Yeah, I literally don't know. You're right, buddy. Look at his little lip. Look at his little lips. Like, you sort that out. There you go. Sometimes he gets food caught like in his like gums, like here, because see they're stretchy gums. He gets food caught here, and then he's trying to eat it. Sorry, audio only listeners, you're gonna just have to imagine this scene. And I have to like help him, and I have to like push the food down so that he can eat it. Bless him. He's fine up there. Right, cool. Okay. Predictions time. Let's talk predictions, shall we? Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, race winner. I'm not getting carried away. I think. Look, I get it, right? But realistically, like, I think Miami was a bit of a one-off. I think Max will come back and win this weekend. I mean, Max isn't one. Whenever he does have a bad weekend, which doesn't happen very often, he always comes back with a bang. After Singapore, obviously last year, he came back in Suzuka and absolutely smashed everyone. So, you know what? I think, realistically, Red Bull's still the best car. I've not seen anything to say otherwise. You know, they struggled with the tyres. I think Miami was a perfect storm that worked against them. I think temperatures, they clearly struggled, didn't they, Red Bull, in certain conditions. I think he'll be fine this weekend. I think he'll win it. I don't think he'll win it by a country mile. I think it will be, I could see the gap being within 10 seconds at the end. But I won't really say much more than that. I've not got reason to say much more than that. So, yeah, I think Max will come back with a bang, take the W this weekend. But race winner, Max Verstappen. But banger drive, I'm going to go Oscar Piastri. I was very impressed with how Oscar was running in Miami relative to Lando. His quality pace relative to Lando as well. It's the tyre management that's his Achilles heel for sure. And I think, obviously he's not raced, in 22? Yeah, he's not raced Imola, has he? In F1. Because in 22 it was Ricciardo. So, yeah, obviously they race F2, don't they? They race F2 in Imola? Yeah, they do, don't they? I'm sure they do. So he's got some track experience, but not in an F1 car. And obviously, if it is a bit rainy, that's always a bit of a, flying the ointment is kryptonite, is Carlos Sainz. Absolutely, yeah. Him and Carlos. It's the weirdest, like, the most, the least expected beef. So I'm going to put Minton down now. He's getting a bit tetchy, right? Say bye to everyone, Minton. Goodbye. Wave. Oh, you're so handsome, aren't you? Look at you. I'll leave that door open so you can go out. Yeah, it's the weirdest, most unusual beef. Science versus Piastri. But there you go. Mortal enemies. No, I think Oscar will run well again. He's getting the full upgrades. He gave a very good account of himself. Like, you would look at how he was running in the race. He got past Leclerc and then held up. Like, you would look at that and think, oh, yeah, he's probably got the same upgrades as Lando. Because I expect a race pace deficit. I expect Oscar to be slower than Lando in the race. And he was, but I think as he gets closer, I think he covered up some of the deficit that, not having those upgrades would have shown. Lando's the quicker driver, overlapping in a race, no question, but Oscar's getting there. Oscar is getting there. As for a clanger, well, unfortunately, and maybe this is the first weekend that we really start to see that, because I still think Max is going to win the race, but I think with the McLaren upgrades, them, Will Joseph, he did a podcast with Tom Clarkson, it's a really good one on F1 Nation, talking about how actually they believe that their upgrades are more suited to track characteristics of Imola than Miami. Obviously, temperature is going to be a big differential. But what are you doing, Minton? He's just faffing about down there. He seems to think McLaren's going to be in an even stronger pace. If Ferrari are going to gain, a few tenths of lap time, which is potential from their upgrades, you saw it, Road Rage. I think Sergio. I think this is the storm where the pressure really starts to ramp up on Sergio now, because as Ferrari and McLaren and maybe Mercedes and Aston Martin, I don't think so, but maybe, as they start to catch, this is going to start hurting Sergio unless he can keep that gap close, which, to be fair to him this year, he's kept it a few tenths in qualifying, sometimes under, sometimes a bit over. But that gap is still, you would look at that gap and that's the top end of an acceptable gap between teammates, about 3 tenths, just general across the board. And I worry for him that now that the others are starting to pick up, that if he was driving like he was last year, I'd be very worried for him. This year it's been better. Still not been great, but it's been better. Yeah, I'm saying Checo. And thank you, Barilla, for the $5. Much appreciated for the super chat. Very kind of you. He's had, Francine, I wouldn't say he's had a great start, Checo. The thing is, again, it's relative, isn't it? It's relative to last year. Has it been much better from Checo? Yes. Objectively, on like driver A, driver B, is he still very far away from Max? Yes. But it's in the realms of acceptability now where you can look at that and be like, yeah, having a clear number one is an advantage, has historically been more of an advantage than a disadvantage when you're fighting for a world championship. But again, this is crunch time for Checo now. He's got to start closing that gap, or at least staying ahead of the rest. So then banger team, McLaren, they seem very positive about the upgrades. They've got them on both cars. They feel like they're going to be even more suited to Imola than they were in Miami. I'm saying McLaren. Look, Lauren, did Matt see Matt gets all his inspiration from me, the other Tom in his life. Banger team McLaren, yeah, I mean they sound positive, and the upgrades on both cars. Lando's going to be bringing confidence into this weekend. He always seems to run pretty well in Imola as well. Oscar's got the full upgrades, blah blah blah. Like, there's no reason to not think that McLaren will be banger team. And then clanger team, I've gone with. Unfortunately, I've not got faith. I'm struggling with Aston Martin. I am. It's obviously, the caveat, they're held back by the limitations of Lance because he's so inconsistent. And I mean, Fernando actually had a bad weekend last weekend. You would actually say Fernando got very lucky with the safety car, the timing of the safety car, just like Lando did. Stroll probably was actually the stronger driver of the two last weekend, which happens so infrequently. And again, no one's asking Lance to beat Fernando every weekend. Just be a bit closer. Just be a bit consistent. Just don't go out in Q1, Anyway, they're bringing upgrades, Aston Martin. They've not got the best track record with mid-season, in-season upgrades. I'm not so sure. Don't know if I'm convinced. So, yeah. I'm going Aston Martin. Clanger team. That's my 5. Race winner, Max Verstappen. Banger drive, Oscar Piastri. Clanger drive, Sergio Perez. Banger team, McLaren. Clanger team, Aston Martin. On Monday, for the post-race Chinwag, we will reflect on How many of these are absolute stinkers? Hello, Maxim from Moldova. Love that. What country? Cool. Right, sweet. Now your turn. Exactly, Charmander. Now your turn. Now, I did post this very late last night. I was up till like 1 doing work bits. So 986 of you voted. Thank you for voting. If I'd posted it a bit earlier, I'm sure I would have got more from my time zones. But when I'm posting it at 1 a.m. UK time, can't be surprised to get a few less votes. But thank you for voting. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to see my community posts where I post these polls, or follow me on Twitter at TOMMO'F1. TWOMMO, because we only take W's on Twitter. Anyway. Right, your predictions. Race winner. Great time for India Canal. It's a good point. Hello, Angus from Australia as well. Why are you awake? Why are you awake, Angus? Go to bed. 46% of you, Max Verstappen. 46% of you are not getting carried away with the hype. All right? Around Lando and McLaren. Yes, it's exciting to see someone who's never won a race before win a race. Yes, it's exciting, the potential of it being a multi-driver championship fight, but I don't think we're there yet, and neither do most of you. It's only 9 p.m. in Australia. What? What? The time difference is only 9 hours right now. Oh, fair play. Fair play. Anyway, yeah, 46% of you Max Verstappen, 22% of you think Charles Leclerc is going to win the race. Yeah, he's a quick boy, Charles. He's been good this year. 14% think Logan Sargent. I mean, that'll guarantee his seat. 10% Lando Norris. You're not my dad. You don't know that, Ben. You don't know that. Yeah, I mean, look. I think it's. Whoops. I think it's more of the same, but I don't think it's going to be a crazy easy win. I don't think it'll be an easy win. But I still think Max has the quickest car, and he is the quickest, most complete driver in Formula 1. IMO. Right. Banger drive. 22% of you went Charles Leclerc. Some hope. The Tifosi hope is there. 17% Oscar Piastri. You see it as well. 15% Logan Sargent. It's now or never for Logan. I made my video, he has demonstrated pace time and time again, but never delivers the end result. And that can only go on for so long for a team like Williams. Plus, he's liable to a crash. So he needs to put out some big performances in the next few races. Otherwise, he's gone. He's gone. But yeah, a kilometre is in P3 there for 15% of the vote. And 14% of you think Lando Norris is going to have a banger drive as well. Yeah, Sargent's not replaced. He's not getting replaced yet. Yeah. We'll see. Time will tell. Okay. Clanger drive. 19% Lance Stroll. Savage. 18% Daniel Ricciardo. Interesting. 14% Sergio Perez, 8% George Russell, back to where it all happened with him and Valtteri in 2021, the old slap on the head. And that is one of the scariest crashes I've, honestly, when you watch that back, that crash, Russell and Bottas, Russell on the outside, and I think he was at fault, right? And how quickly that car rotates into the side of Bottas. If that halo's not there, his head's getting taken clean off. It is such a high speed. It's so sudden. It doesn't even look real. It's just one frame is there, the next frame is there. So sketchy. I mean, I think Russell is mostly at fault for that crash for sure. But yeah, Kimi just cruising by. Yeah, exactly. Well, Kimi cruised by then. He also cruised by the year before when Russell crashed under the safety car at Imola, didn't he? He was the one behind George when that happened. But yeah, the Halo did its job that day for sure. For sure. 19% Stroll, 18 Ricciardo, 14 Perez. That's harsh. That's harsh on Lance because he had a good weekend last weekend. Better than Fernando, I think. And he slapped Bottas, which didn't exactly help, did it? Clanger drive, you've given it Lance. Banger team, you've given it Ferrari, 42%. There is belief in the upgrades. Some strong Tifosi energy knocking about right now. Okay, we'll see. 42%, 30% McLaren, 15% Williams, 5% Red Bull. That Williams 15% is a bit from nowhere. I was literally just before we went live, I was watching the race, just put a video out talking about Williams, how it's like a less peaky car than last year, which means it is consistently quicker, but also it's not able to put Alex and Logan in a position to get points, because it's not like working extremely well on some tracks, even though it works trash in others. Like, there is an argument to be made for sure, especially when you're at the back. You would rather have in the short term anyway, you'd rather have a car that has loads of performance on a very select few tracks and then trash at the rest, because you just clean your points up there. Don't worry about the rest of the year, whether you finished 11th or 20th, you still get 0 points. So, you know. But yeah, anyway, Ferrari 42%. Yeah, McLaren 30%, belief there. Red Bull 5%, probably. They've not gone away, Red Bull, just because McLaren won a race and Lando was quicker. Again, people say, oh, Lando got lucky. Yeah, he got lucky, but also he was the quickest car on track. So it's not like the same as when Ocon won, you know, or when Gasly won, or when all of these other one-off, like, circumstance, opportunity presented itself. With Lando, it was the same, but he was also actually the quickest car on track, hence why he could lead from the safety car restart. Anyway, I digress. Thank you, Alex, for the super chat. Sonoda Williams for 25. Why not? Wouldn't be a bad shout, you know. Wouldn't be a bad shout at all. It just depends on, I mean, so much. I wonder what falls first, you know, because would I rather have, if I was James Vowles, like, Yuki Tsunoda now is a way more reliable driver than he used to be. And would I rather have Yuki over Logan? Yes, absolutely. I mean, Alex and Yuki, I think, would work really well together. Obviously, Alex was driver coaching Yuki while he had that year out in 2020, 2021. And yeah, I think that would be a great little lineup. I don't know how long they'd be able to keep hold of, but Williams could be like, right, we'll get, you know, 25, 26 out of Yuki until Fernando retires. Fernando's got a multi-year. And then maybe Yuki will go to Aston Martin, Honda, and help, you know, Yuki and Alex, I think, would bring that team up for sure. I'll be up for that. That'd be vibes. And then finally, Clanger team. You've gone Alpine, 23% of the vote. They're getting better. That's a bit of a, I'm not sure about that. You know, Ocon point last weekend in Miami. And they seem to have found some performance finally. I mean, they're still nowhere near where they should be, but we'll see. 23% Alpine, 21% of you went Mercedes. Again, they've got an upgrade coming, but maybe they'll just be experimenting all weekend and we won't actually get to see the potential of it. And Lewis had a very good weekend in Miami as well, didn't he? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not so sure about them. 16 Sauber, of course, as per. 16 Williams. Yeah, I mean, Williams just don't have the resource to bring in-season upgrades right now, do they? So they started the season, you know, not the worst car, but it's like, feels like they're probably just Q1 merchants at the minute, which is a shame. Which is a shame. Am I a bit quiet? Is that better? You know what? It should be the same. Maybe the gain's a little bit. It shouldn't be lower than usual, to be fair. I always have it on the same little thing on my microphone. Anyway, we've already talked about upgrades galore. Albon extends at Williams. Now, we knew that he had a contract for 2025. At least James Vowles had already divulged that he had a contract for 2025. And it seemed to be, the way it was kind of worded, is that there was an option on 2025 that Alex could leave at the end of this year and go somewhere else. There was an option on his, but, you know, we've had this before, right, where, you know, Haas took up the option on Hülkenberg for this season, even though Sauber wanted him 1 year earlier. That obviously didn't happen. So it's always a little bit, you know, these teams keep their information close to their chest. But yeah, it's a multi-year. We don't know how long that could be for. That could be until 2042. I don't think it's going to be. It could be till 2077. when the bombs drop. If you know, you know. So yeah, I don't know. I'm, as an Alex Albon fan, which you may or may not be aware I'm quite the fan of Alex Albon. I'm pretty happy. I think, his name wasn't being linked with Mercedes. Obviously, Antonelli. If Antonelli's not about, and if Sainz isn't leaving, but then obviously if Sainz isn't leaving, then Lewis isn't leaving. I think, if Lewis was like retiring, Sainz was staying at Ferrari, and Antonelli didn't exist, then yeah, Albon to Mercedes probably could have worked. Obviously, there are many factors that are not part of reality, so he's saying. Otherwise, I mean, I think Audi could have been a cool project, but it feels like, I mean, James Vowles does give a lot of confidence, doesn't he? And as much as, they've taken some short-term pain, he knows that team believes in him. It's a solid F1 seat for him to hopefully bring them forward, and maybe from 2026 onwards with, Pat Fry's there now, and, building out that technical team. Newey still feels like a very long shot. That would obviously be very cool. Maybe Alex knows something we don't. No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Newey's just going to chill for a bit. But yeah, no, I'm pretty satisfied with this outcome. To be honest, there was the talk of maybe going back to Red Bull. I would never have endorsed that as a fan of him. Just because it's just too much pain to revisit. Like, to stay at Williams and build that team back up with Vowles, with Fry, with the Dorilton money, to work on that project. I don't necessarily think he'll be around necessarily to like, if Williams can recover and be somewhat competitive in 5-6 years' time, will he be past his best, past his peak? Maybe. Will he be in a position to fight for a championship? I don't see it. There's nothing that suggests in the short to medium term anyway that Alex is going to be anywhere near a championship fight, which I'm fine with, to be honest. Like, I'm a fan of the guy. I'm a fan. I'm West Ham fan. Like, we don't win anything, and we won that Conference League, but like, we don't win it. We're not winners. I'm not used to my team winning, or the entities I support winning. But as long as they're giving a good account of themselves, I'm happy. So I'm pretty satisfied. I'm pretty satisfied with the Albon news. Williams needs a manufacturer. Yeah, I mean, Williams could really do with a deal like Aston Martin have with Honda, couldn't they? That would help. But then, McLaren have committed their short to medium term future with Mercedes. They're going to be running Mercedes engines from 2026. So if McLaren can do it, McLaren can outperform the works team, there's no reason in principle why Williams can't, but obviously they don't have the facilities that McLaren. If you look at Williams, compare that facility to what McLaren and what Mercedes have, it's nowhere near. So, but yeah, I'd love to. Sonoda might bring Honda to Williams. I mean, that would be a big pivot. But maybe Sonoda to Williams, and then Vowles lines up a 2026 engine deal. With Honda, but they've already committed, haven't they? Williams have already committed to Mercedes. I'm sure they've already signed a contract. I loved how Vowles put it. We don't have a driver problem at Williams. Alex is performing very well. Wow, I haven't actually seen that, Ajinka. I've not seen that one. And don't worry, by the way, any Arsenal fans out there, we got you. Don't worry, we'll smash City. All right, it's fine. You got nothing to worry about. That's going to be an enjoyable game to watch because there's nothing on the line for us. So whether we win or lose, like, it's going to be entertaining. Oh, right, there we go. Okay, I think we're pretty much done. That's 35 minutes, about right. Any other questions? Anything live chat that I haven't covered? Toyota might start an engine project and sponsor Sonoda. No, Allegiant. Yuki's part of Honda. Ratomo Miata is part of Toyota. He's in F2. But no, I think that's way off. You don't need to see the stream intro again. No Crofty this weekend. Yes, James. In fact, my good friend Harry Benjamin is taking over. So Harry's quality, all right. It's in very safe hands, the Sky F1 broadcast with Harry, but I'm very excited to see how he does. He does 5 Live stuff, Harry. He did the F1 Kids as well stuff. He does some of the presenting there. He's well versed in the commentary booth, so it'll be Harry and Karoon on commentary. Crofty as a weekend off for once. So yeah, Harry's going to smash it for sure. Where's Newey going? South of France with his missus, by the sound of it, in a little camper van. So that'll be fun. Is there F2 this weekend? Yeah, I believe all the junior series are going on. Oh yeah, we had Abby Pullin won in F4, which is cool. Jamie Chadwick got a podium in Indy Next as well. Good job. I was watching the second race and she was running P4, and then I went to do the washing up and I came back and she'd retired, and then I asked Hannah like what happened to Jamie. She was like, I don't know, I wasn't watching. I was like, oh, thanks. But yeah, no, it's going to be a good weekend this weekend. I'm excited for it. I hope you're excited for it. Thank you for watching wherever you are in the world. Thank you to everyone here in the live chat as well. Sava, Luke, Derek, Keo, David, Chris, Stefan, Knox, Stra, Charmander, Aleph, Nathan, Luke, David, Ur, Priest, Liam, Aramba, Rainer, Kleiner, Gabe, Aleph. I would do F2 predictions, but honestly, I'm just picking it out of thin air, so not much value to that. Also, Indy 500 this weekend. Going to try and watch that if I can. Great race. I'd love to see Colton or Pato win. They're the kind of 2 drivers that I like the most. And Scott McLaughlin, actually. As an old V8 supercar fan. Scotty, Colton or Pato. Or Callum, actually. I really like Callum a lot, and he's going to be racing the McLaren. I don't know, there's loads of drivers I like in IndyCar. Anyway, my name's Tomo. Thanks again. Have a good one. Ciao, adios, cheerio. See, different outro. Bye, everyone.